As the deal dialing down months of tensions on trade, the US president saying he's cutting tariffs on Indian goods to 18% from 50% after a phone call with the Indian Prime Minister. Donald Trump says Narendra Modi promised to stop buying Russian oil while also stepping up purchases of American goods. The terms build the first phase of a broader pact to be negotiated in the months ahead. Mr. Trump says India will spend to the tune of over $500 billion on goods across various sectors, from energy to tech and agriculture. Indian officials lauding the deal, but not commenting on specific detail or timelines. Beyond confirming agreement to buy more US goods, with the final tariff from Washington slashed to 18%. It's unclear which products will see zero duties and which could see reductions in stages. The Kremlin says India has not signaled any plans to stop buying Russian oil. But relief for now for many in India, given what they see as an end to months of uncertainty. Analysts, though, more cautious, warning that US tariffs on steel, aluminium, copper, automobiles and auto parts are likely to stay in place. This is India's third major trade pact in a year, coming a week after Delhi and Brussels announced what both sides hailed as the mother of all trade deals. It's projected to double European exports to India. Rebecca Bundhun is covering this story for CNA Live from Mumbai. Rebecca, we've heard from Mr. Trump on his social media platform. What concessions, though, has India explicitly spelled out in reaching this deal?
Well, this deal follows months of negotiations between Washington and New Delhi. In fact, India's Trade Minister, Piyush Goyal, is addressing the media as we speak. So we may have more details coming through from the Indian side. But so far, everybody has been going off what President Trump posted on social media, saying that these tariffs had been reduced to 18% on the condition that India was going to reduce stop its oil imports from Russia. Now, we haven't as yet had any confirmation that that is something that India has agreed to. And India had been saying that in recent months that its oil purchases were driven by its national interests, providing affordable and enough energy to its population of more than 1.4 billion people. So we need further details on that. President Trump also talking about India buying $500 billion worth of US goods, talked about zero tariffs. Again, there just aren't enough details. We need to see statements with the fine print. But there have been some concerns. There has been chaos in Parliament in India today with the opposition, the main opposition Congress party, raising concerns about how this could impact farmers. President Trump mentioned the agriculture sector, agricultural goods from the US, also technology. Now, more than 50% of India's population depend on the farming sector for their livelihoods. So there are worries around that. However, in general, it's been met positively by the deal. The announcement of the deal has been met positively in India. We saw stock markets surging and the rupee also gaining.
Rebecca, as you say, any assessment on the merits of this deal will depend on the fine print, of which at this point we've seen relatively little. Compared to the deal reached between India and the European Union just a week ago, wherein lie the differences?
Yes, that's right. And we have to remember that the EU-India trade deal was in the works, in the making for almost 2 decades. And analysts say that the EU and India really decided to push that over the finishing line because of the situation with US tariffs, global trade. That's something that forced them to do that. And it's interesting, this timing as well, that this US deal has been announced less than a week after the EU-India trade deal came through. Now, there are sort of key differences as well, with most notably the President Trump's announcement that this seems to be based on the condition of India stopping its oil imports from Russia. Now, there has been a statement from the Kremlin reported by the news wires saying that they haven't heard from New Delhi on those plans to stop those oil purchases. So there seems to be much more clarity around the EU-India deal, still more information to come through on the US-India announcement and those the fine print of that. But sectors in India, including textiles, food products, gems and jewellery, they've all reacted very positively to the US-India announcement. They've been very impacted by those high tariffs, and it's a welcome move.
Well, thanks. Rebecca Bundhun then covering this story for CNA live from Mumbai.